The chair recognizes Dr. Buckley for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move the House grant permission for the Committee on Public Education to meet while the House is in session today at 9:15 p.m. in room E2036 to consider pending, referred, and committee business.
Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Bales, for what purpose?
Does the gentleman yield?
The gentleman yield for questions.
Yeah, I yield.
Chairman Buckley,
Yes.
I know we gave a long speech about how we handle bills, about decorum in the body on the Herrera Amendment and such. And you plainly stated that when we have bills, especially those that are very substantial, that it's important that we give those thoughtful consideration, that we have proper time for deliberation, full transparency to the body. Is your intention to bring a bill and a sizable committee substitute somewhere to the tune of 80 pages?
We're going to take up pending business in the committee if the House grants permission.
Is an 80-page substitution part of your intention?
There's a bill that is comprised of multiple subjects that we have had hearings on over the last several weeks to include 16 hours on one subject alone.
Very aware. I was able to listen to that actual testimony. Of that 80-page bill that you have that committee substitute, starting on page 50, are you aware of what the top line of page 50 actually states?
I don't have the bill in front of me, and I don't
have
think
the
that's
bill.
an appropriate question.
I'll help you read that.
Yeah.
It's Article 3, Education Savings Account Program. Is it your intention to bring this bill forward as a vehicle, to bypass the hearing process, to present this as a committee substitute, and then force the body to take a vote on that without the same transparency that you have demanded that this body give to other bills?
The component of that section was heard, discussed, and witness testimony for 16 hours.
Last I checked,
April 11th.
You had several bills that actually dealt with education savings account and vouchers. What is the status of those bills, and have you voted any of those bills out of your committee to be deliberated on the floor?
Those bills are still pending in committee.
But you have chose not to give any of those bills an actual vote and vote those out. However, you're trying to bring an 80-page substitution to this body and force a vote without that thoughtful deliberation, that transparency in the same committee hearing for public input that you have so deliberately requested on future bills?
We have heard the subject matter for 16 hours on April the 11th, and to include 80 additional hours of testimony on many of the subjects covered in the committee substitute. That could be
If
taken
we've heard
up
that
as pending
testimony
business.
on those bills, then you should be able to actually vote those bills out. Or any of these bills in their entirety here, or you've actually picked and chose the particular language that you want brought together, and there's been no collective hearing on a bill which would be the same as the 80 pages which you are asking this body to vote on.
The committee will take up the committee substitute if the House grants permission for us to meet this evening.
Gentleman's time's expired.
I formally object, and I request a record vote on this.